it's much more than just revenge and hatred and anger. What Sardar Udham is about as a character. To be that character, I always believe as an actor, you first try and reach out to that character, and somewhere in the middle, the character also gives his arm out to you, and then you hold that arm and then the character start giving back to you. And it's a beautiful marriage of this process that is happening through the filming.
I think I can safely say about this film, we know more about the subject than the fringe groups. So we are open to, if somebody has something to ask, we can discuss with them and we can give them the facts.
Somebody has an objection, but and they can come on a platform and discuss. But the unhealthy part is when they take the other route of unnecessary creating a trouble. The healthy is that you want to talk. Yes, that's wonderful.
Welcome to ETimes. Today we've got the team of Sardar Udham with us. Welcome Shoojit sir, welcome Vicky. Hi Ronnie sir, welcome to ETimes. So let me just shoot off the first question to Shoojit sir, because this is your project. Of late, a lot of historical subjects, they've gained popularity. We've seen so many stories come alive on the screen. So how much did that contribute in your decision to make this story, wherein you knew there was a trend happening and obviously then people would be sort of aware and sort of receptive to these sort of stories? Or was it just a need to tell this story and not really related to the trend?
Yes, you're right. I mean, it was not related to any trend that I wanted to make. Because I even don't follow any trend. So even I'm not a trend person also. So I make films when I want to make a film, tell a story. So it was purely it was long awaiting decision to make this film. It was there with us for quite some time. So, but we decided to make the film now. Me and Ronnie also agreed to make the film. He said, let's go and make this film. Let's not delay it further. I said, good, it's a good time. So we just jumped on and made this film.
There have been, the topic has been covered before. We've had about 2 or 3 films made in the past. So what was it about the story that you might have thought that, it's not being covered, it's not told? Were there any sort of, thoughts behind making this film that probably other films in the past have not covered the story properly, something like that?
See, the films that's been made earlier, they have definitely covered everything. I mean, there's nothing left that they have not covered what we don't know. Even if whether it's Shahid Bhagat Singh or whether or Sardar Udham Singh. I just felt that every personality, every person have their own outlook towards how you perceive that character, that personality, the perception. I just wanted, I was never satisfied with the perception of a freedom fighter being catered to me, to understand. So I'm also quite a history buff and a research buff, so I do a lot of research. So this film was, I wanted to present my own take on how a freedom fighter should be presented, how a revolutionary we should perceive, what I think about a revolutionary. It's purely a very, very subjective film, very, very pure, personal. So that's what I have presented in this film.
Udham Singh's story, his emotions as a person, they've been very intense. There was a lot of revenge, there was a lot of hatred that he harbored towards the Britishers and towards what happened at Jallianwala Bagh. So how difficult is it to manifest these emotions as an actor when you're playing with them?
See, firstly, when you'll watch the film, you'll see that it's much more than just revenge and hatred and anger. What Sardar Udham is about as a character, and also secondly, I think the difficulty with regards to expressing an emotion, it's never difficult to express an emotion. It's just always sometimes takes a bit of a task to reach the truth of it when you're portraying a character. So that sometimes, yes, there were moments in the filming of Sardar Udham where it would really required a bit of introspection. It would require a lot of imagination. It would require a lot of really truthfully trying to be in that mental state of mind to express that emotion. The execution of the entire film is in a very realistic way. It's in a very it's not like we're presenting a freedom fighter like a superhero, or it's the way Sujita is conceived. Sardar Udham as a freedom fighter is like he's one of us, So in that sense, there was so much realism in the execution of the entire film that to be that person in that canvas, you had to be completely truthful to those emotions. So that sometimes would become a challenge as an actor to be there, but it was a very enriching experience at the same time also to go through that process.
Have you, I mean, you are Punjabi yourself. Have you grown up with this character? Have you grown up with these stories?
Of course, as a Punjabi and as an Indian also, I've just grown up listening to these stories. Be it Sardar Udham, be it Shahid Bhagat Singh, be it Jallianwala Bagh. You've just grown up listening to these stories, reading these stories in your history books. It's part of our culture, it's part of our upbringing, it's part of our, just growing up. So it becomes a very integral part of our subconscious. So it was there, but right now we've just tried to bring out a story where, we just reopen that box.
Right. When you've taken like a deep dive into such a character and such an environment, because it's a period film, it's not a modern environment also where you're shooting. Does it ever become that, those emotions, those feelings, when you're enacting them, especially on screen, does it ever become overpowering? Do you sort of carry them on after the camera's cut, and do they sort of pop up in your real life at times?
I think once your process starts to be that character, I always believe as an actor, you first try and reach out to that character, and somewhere in the middle, the character also gives his arm out to you, and then you hold that arm and then the character start giving back to you. And it's a beautiful marriage of this process that is happening through the filming. In that, subconsciously, you're always consumed by that world, those traits, those colors of that character, without even consciously knowing that you're carrying that character in some way or the other along with yourself while you're filming the part. So yes, subconsciously, it always stayed with me. It always continues to stay with me. But always you have to activate it once you're between action and cut and you're performing that part in your costumes, but it always does stay back with you.
Yeah. Have you ever taken it home? Has it ever become a problem?
No, not like I said, it's never consciously there. You're not consciously speaking those same lines, you're not consciously speaking that same way or being that way. But subconsciously, there's always that factor in that sometimes your family points it out to you that, you're looking aloof, you're feeling different, there's some different vibe. And now over a period of time, they've understood the nature of the work that they give you that space also. But when they react like that, I come to know that, okay, maybe there is something which I'm not consciously realizing, but there is some shift that has happened, which you like it to be there also as an actor. That, okay, I'm glad to know that there's some shift that has happened. You don't want to analyze it because you just want to flow with that shift till the process of that filming is done.
Is that reassuring as an actor?
Oh,
have those moments?
100%. Through the process, when you know that you've kind of, your gears have shifted a bit to another space, it definitely is that, at least it's reassuring to know that you have dived into it. Now, just keep exploring the truth of it.
Fair. Ronnie, sir, this is for you. Invariably, today movies with, say a political backdrop or say a historical backdrop, they become soft targets for criticism, and these fringe groups stand up and sort of object to it. So when you're sort of taking a decision to make such a film, do you sort of factor that in, that we want the political side of to be safer? Do you even think about it? Does it matter to the story process to you?
Not really. See, as long as we know that our research and our thing is clear, I think I can safely say about this film, we know more about the subject than the fringe groups. So we are open to, if somebody has something to ask, we can discuss with them and we can give them the facts, because it's not something that we have done. So these factors never have bothered us.
Okay, not so much in the decision-making process, but probably in your strategy, do you sort of account for it, because we have a historical subject, we might run into trouble, so to speak?
Not really.
Or you don't bother?
No, not really. I mean, as I said, we've made it with the best of intentions, with the truth, with the best of research over a lot of years. So we've spent a lot of time. We've done it's like when you do your homework properly, then you're not scared for the exam. So that's what we've done our homework. So we know what we've done is right, so we don't bother about it.
The most important factor is that what he's talking about, the fringe groups and all. I think it's very healthy that somebody has an objection, but and they can come on a platform and discuss. But the unhealthy part is when they take the other route of unnecessary creating a trouble. But healthy is that you want to talk. Yes, that's wonderful. So I think I agree with him. I think it should be a very healthy process. I may have some point of view on certain things, and I can come to you and talk to you. But I will not take some unhealthy, way of conducting my debate.
Also, what tends to happen, I think, is the niyat of telling that story, that always reflects. And rest assured, the niyat of telling this story of Sardar Udham has been so much in place, that I'm sure that will resonate.
Again, I'll go back to the question I posed earlier to you, Vicky. You've grown, your roots are to Hoshiarpur and Jalandhar. But have you grown up with your father telling you stories of, say, Sardar Udham and the freedom struggle over there, or probably your grandparents or your extended family members from there? What sort of stories have you grown up with Sardar Udham? Could you elaborate on that?
Surely, Sardar Udham in particular, and also just the freedom struggle and the kind of stories that land has seen, the kind of times that land has seen during the freedom struggle. You keep growing to those stories, in the middle of all those other stories that you keep listening from your grandmother, when you're going to bed in the night and all of that. But of course, these were very integral part of those storytelling sessions where you would grow up listening to these stories as folklores, and they definitely were a part of mine and my brother's upbringing, these stories from our land in Punjab.
Fair enough. Shoojit sir, did you choose Vicky because he's a Punjabi and he would fit the bill?
I won't deny that was not one of the reasons, yes, for sure. Yeah, because that helped. That definitely helped me in crafting, Udham's character, because there are some places there are some dialects also. And the passion that he, as a Punjabi, because as he said, since childhood, I don't think there is any Punjabi, who has not heard this incident and the massacre and has not affected them. So I won't deny the fact that this is one of the definitely a bullet point in terms of casting him as Udham.
So did he live up to your expectations?
Yes, I think we have learned from each other, and yes, of course I was I'm satisfied, otherwise I would have been shooting till now.
That's true.
We would have been giving the 358th take for that show.
Right. Vicky, I was looking at a couple of videos of yours where you said 12 Angry Men is one of your favorite films.
Yes.
And that's a very similar setup to, Udham Singh's story as well, wherein there is a courtroom, wherein, if you go back to the historical statements of Udham Singh, he stood in a British court and proclaimed that how Indians are exploited. And similar sentiments were there in 12 Angry Men as well. So I'm not sure if you've thought about this, but when you were doing this film, did you sort of get to relive, those sort of moments of 12 Angry Men? Did you sort of try to channelize those moments from the film? Did any of those memories come to you?
To be honest, when we were shooting the courtroom scene, I think I was so consciously and subconsciously involved with that atmosphere that was created and that world of Udham that probably not consciously, but like you're saying, that 12 Angry Men is one of my all-time favorites, and I've seen that about 100 times, that film. And somewhere in the subconscious, of course, that might have been there while I was doing that scene and playing Sardar Udham at that particular point. But consciously, definitely, I would like to believe that I was in a different headspace of a different person altogether. But maybe subconsciously, yes.
Okay. Ronnie sir, shooting a film like this during the pandemic, it's a period film, it's never easy, especially in a pandemic. What sort of challenges did you face? What sort of preparation did you do?
Luckily, we finished shooting a week before the lockdowns.
Okay.
So we shot in the normal times, normal world. There were a lot of challenges. We had other challenges of shooting -20, -21 degree temperatures and -5. So -20 is actually easier to shoot in. Worst is 5 degrees to -5.
-5 with the wind.
With the wind. That's the worst one. And we were still covered up. Vicky at sometimes was just wearing a shirt and a pant. That's it. So you should ask him
How was that
difficult it was
experience?
for him.
That was quite a chilling experience, quite literally.
But does it become tough then to focus on the craft? I mean, how do you do it? How do you sort of keep the elements away and focus on what you're supposed to do?
You just stop thinking too much about it. I mean, our job is to make our own world, no matter where we are. Sometimes you're in the middle of the heat and 50 degrees and you have to make it look like you're in the middle of winters and you're covered with layers on top of you. And sometimes it's quite the opposite. But I think it's part of the job to kind of create a make-believe environment, and there's a whole team that helps you do that. So I guess at the end of the day, when you go about in your shot, you just stop thinking about all of this.
Fair enough. Shoojit sir, this is for you. Barring your first directorial Yahan, almost all your other films were written by Juhi. This is probably the first time in a long time that she's, I mean, not directly involved in the filming. So how was that? Because the reason I ask is because, you know, filmmaking is a process of creative synergies.
Right.
So did you sort of miss her involvement, or, I mean, what was the experience like?
No, she was also there with there's one more film where she was there involved also in Madras Cafe, where she written the dialogues. Yes, I mean we have done some 6 films together almost, and we surely have a very good rapport, especially the films that we have made it together. Last one was Gulabo Sitabo. I think I still consider that as a really one of my very satisfied work that I have done. In this particular film, I think Ritesh and Shubhendu were already on board and they were doing it. But I mean, we will be making more films. So in future, possibly we will again, collaborate.
Cool. And one final question. This is an open question. All 3 of you can choose to answer it. I mean, when you think about Sardar Udham's story, one thought that instantly comes to our mind is, and this is a very popular thought, where they say one man's terrorist is another man's freedom fighter. How much of this thought applies to Sardar Udham's story, and how have you tackled this? Have you tackled it, and how have you put this forth through your story?
A freedom fighter's story will of course tackle this. I mean, so. But I think it can't be tackled with just one sentence or just one reasoning or something. It has to be tackled with what that personality is, how he conducts himself, what does he say. There are many things. Because same thing can be, if there's a difference or there's an approach in terms of the attitude or intentions as such, it can change. So we have tackled this. So I think the film will speak for itself.
Cool. All right, sir. Thank you so much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.